Welcome to the Midlife Mavericks podcast, where we empower men in their prime to redefine what it means to thrive beyond 40. Join us as we navigate the complexities of midlife, offering insights, strategies, and inspiration to reclaim your health, vitality, and purpose. From personal stories of transformation to expert interviews and actionable tips, each episode is designed to support you on your journey to live the best life in your midlife and beyond. Get ready to unleash your inner maverick and embrace the adventure of aging with grace, strength, and purpose. Today's guest, Mark Cluer, is here to crack you wide open and reignite your fire. Mark's story is one of epic transformation. We're talking successful career, a life-changing retreat, and a complete overhaul to create a space where men can shed the tough guy facade and embrace their authentic selves. Society tells men to bottle up their emotions, grind it out, and never show weakness. But Mark's here to challenge that. He's all about vulnerability, emotional connection, and forging deep, meaningful conversations. This episode dives deep into Mark's journey, from ice bars and breathwork to building a retreat where men can finally feel at home in their own skin. Mark's message is powerful, and it's exactly what midlife mavericks need to hear. So, grab your headset, buckle up, and get ready to unleash your inner maverick. Here's what you're going to get from today's episode. How a single transformative event can spark a whole new life path. Why expressing emotion and vulnerability is the ultimate sign of strength. The power of stepping outside your comfort zone and taking risks. How breathwork and ice bars can unlock hidden potential. And creating a space for men to connect on a much deeper level. Don't miss this one. And make sure you check out Mark's website and Instagram in the show notes for more info and inspiration. Let's get stuck in. Mark, welcome to the Midlife Mavericks podcast.
What's this about midlife, mate? I'm certainly not midlife, mate.
You've been through it, mate. You've got a wealth of knowledge that we're going to tap into today that you get to share with all of my fantastic listeners.
Yeah. Great stretch, and it's really an honour to have you here, mate. Finally, eh?
Mate, it's great to be here. Just had a walk around Mark's fabulous property here, and we're going to obviously tap into what Mark's been up to here and what it's all about. But it's great to be at this space, mate. I've seen so much on social media and heard so much from so many people about what you're doing, but the energy and the environment when you're actually here is just a world of difference, mate. So it's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, good.
If I was to ask you, like right now, Mark, like what is your purpose and passion in life? What would you tell me?
My purpose and passion. For years, people ask me, what are you doing now? Especially tradesmen. They know I'm not in the building industry anymore, and they'd look at me, they'd be dumbfounded. Because I tried to explain what it was about. But I realised I went down, take my daughter down to Melbourne just to visit the doctor at one point. This is probably 3 years ago. And they asked me, what's your profession? And usually I've always put plumber, builder, and there was this other thing, and I had trouble actually articulating. It's a facilitator of change. It's providing a space, a safe space for people to tap into themselves, their true authentic self. With no judgment, no fear. That's what came up all these years ago in 2016. It was to be able to create a space, and yes, here, but obviously wherever I can be, wherever we are, create a space where you can be yourself. And drop the boundaries, mate. Drop the guard. So I've diverted there.
No,
but the purpose is helping people be himself. Drop the guard, mate. Are we allowed to swear here?
You're allowed.
Yeah, fucking just get rid of it, mate. And be yourself. Yeah. Especially as a as a middle-aged man. I'm now 59, but when we were brought up, my old man, is now 90. Dutchman, and beautiful in the home, like all the time, affection. But outside at the footy club, wherever, Marty, he'd come up to me and and say, "Oh, great game!" Put his arm around me, and, hey, push him away, mate. What are you doing, mate? That's not the image.
Yeah.
You don't do that body. And so, because that's what's about. So let's strip that bullshit. Now, there are times where we need to be stoic, and obviously, yes, we've got to show this. We might need to do that, whether it's in business, even potentially on the footy ground, but then there's got to be balance too. And so I think it's really letting go And my purpose is to be able to have these conversations like we had when you first rocked up. I haven't seen you for a while, spiritually. Like I said, I feel really, and since this, 2016, being able to share with other men and people, and you're not being judged, you're actually listening to you. Whereas, there's friends that I've had known for 30 or 40 years, can't have these conversations. They just zone out.
Yeah.
And there's no deep conversation. It's just the weather, the footy, how you going? Yeah, I'm good. How you going? Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, good. All this kind of stuff,
Yeah.
Mate, life's deeper than that, mate.
Yeah, 100%, mate. Yeah, it's always good to catch up with you, I think, because you are always such an authentic bloke and you don't mind talking to people about your feelings and what's going on in your world. And you also listen to other people as well. And I think that's rare in our society today. So, good on you for being able to open those channels, mate. And especially with what you're trying to do here, which we're obviously going to talk about a little bit, but creating that space for guys and girls to really think about, who they are and what's important to them. And if they are showing up in an authentic way is incredible, mate, because I don't think there's enough of that in our society today. We're being told to live a certain life, do things a certain way, to follow a certain pattern. And that's life.
There's more to it.
You talk about 2016, and I know that there's a key sort of turning point in your life there. I don't think I've heard it from you. I've heard it, through associates, our friends, and people tell me a little bit of the story. But I'd like to just take a step back a little bit before that, like when you were working as builder and when you were growing up, like what was that sort of culture like and what was your mindset like back then? Were you that person who you are today where you can talk about these inner feelings, or were you covering that up?
Yeah, look, I was covering that up. I think 2016, if I can start from that point.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. So I had a building company at that point for 30 years. I'm a plumber, originally a plumber, and then I had a building company for my brother. And that business, we're doing building plumbing maintenance as well as new builds. But it's interesting at 51, I wasn't conscious then. I was really on this kind of, I was on the yang train, mate. I've always loved training. So I'm at training, always thought I was eating healthy, happily married, great daughters, they were adult daughters, or started to be adult, and it was something then. And I could never articulate it. I didn't know. But the feeling now when I look back is, I would say, I was uninspired because I was just ticking the boxes, and like Monday morning, I got to go back to work. I had great clients, good work colleagues that worked for us. But it was, so Friday afternoon, Saturday, Sunday, and then Sunday afternoon, the energy drop off. And it was like, I've got to go back to work, And so I was uninspired, really. Just ticking the boxes, just unconsciously ticking the boxes and trying to build this empire, which really I didn't, was more or less, when you might go to a school reunion, say how many people you got working for you and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't really like, because my brother used to, it's interesting, I was just thinking about this as we talk now, my brother always said to me, if you were, committed to this business as you are with health and fitness, we'd be up, at the Brolo level, mate. But anyway, but so I was uninspired at 51 and ticking the boxes. And it's interesting, and there's a key moment. And it's like liminal space, liminal time. I remember it. It was in July 2016. And a good mate of mine is like a brother to me. Ken rang me up on a Saturday morning in July and said, have you seen this crazy Dutchman? He's running through the Arctic Circle in just a pair of shorts and a pair of Crocs and then running through the Sahara Desert, and I thought, oh, fuck, that's cool. Crazy Dutchman. I got my old man's Dutch heritage, crazy Dutch uncles. I know that ticks a box, but it was also the extreme stuff he was doing because I used to like to, as I said, train hard, push hard, and extrapolate what I could. I did the Murray Marathon a number of times, just full distance. That I think it was 500k over the Christmas holiday. I used to love that, mate. Hotter the better, harder the better. Just fucking go, mate. And just kind of getting. I used to like to put myself in that position of being suffering. And I thought, oh well, look, this is suffering here, and I love his energy. And so I thought, well, I'm going to have a look at this, And so that weekend I looked at everything I could about Wim Hof, listened to Tim Ferriss podcast, and there was another Vice documentary. I remember saying when my energy started to drop off on the Sunday Arvo, I said to Julie, you got to watch what you say in life. Watch what you say. Because what happened, I said to Julie, I'm going to meet this fella. And guess what?
Julie did it for you?
No.
You just did
So
it?
how's this? This is in July 2016, 51.
Yeah.
And then a month later, still living in Melbourne, training at the gym at Fifth Animal Wellness, Fitzroy, with Dave O'Brien, who was at that point was the owner of the gym. And I was doing my deadlifts. It was a Friday afternoon, or squats it was actually. And he said to me, did you know Wim Hof's coming to Australia? He said, it's next Wednesday that we're going down the West Coast for 5 days. And I remember the first thing I said to Dave was, I'm coming, mate. He said, you won't be? I said, why not? He said, because there's 75 or 65 people that have bought tickets, and there's a waiting list of 70. And it's interesting. I knew I had to go to this. I said, I'm coming, mate. And I don't know if you've ever had this before, Stretch, but when you realise you need to do something, there's something inside. It's like an autonomic thing that tries whatever you can to extrapolate and make the best opportunity to get to this point or have this thing. And so after I trained, finished my exercise on the Friday afternoon, it was one of those typical wet days in Melbourne. Within 3 minutes after my training, I found out who was organising the event, and I knew I had to get there. I didn't know why. Obviously, there was this thing, and so I get my car. And I've got to go. I've got this leaking box cutter roof, in North Melbourne, and it was pissing down rain, and I'm up in the roof. I'm up in the roof in the middle of this box cutter, speaking to this event organiser, saying, I really want to come to this, and I didn't really give a fuck about the water entering the building. I was so keen. I wanted to really go to this. And so I had a chat with him, and he said, look, can you come at the last minute? I thought, I probably can, because he said there's a waiting list of 70. I'm not sure, he said to me. So I said, okay, fair enough. So when I hung up, I thought I've done what I can. Just done what I can. And then it's interesting. The interesting thing then, so that's Friday afternoon. It's happening next Wednesday. I get a call Sunday in the afternoon, and I recognise the number. He said, no one's dropped out. Be next time. I thought, okay, fine. That way is. But this is the interesting thing. Then, Monday night, about 9 o'clock in the evening, and one of the issues that Julie had with me, my wife, is that every time she wanted to speak about, Mark, we're going to have a chat, my phone would ring. And it was a building issue, like we had a building maintenance company, 24 hours. And, I'd have calls where there's shit running through the house, got a blocked toilet or burst water pipe, whatever it was. And this time, at this 9 o'clock, I did say to Julie, she wanted to speak to me. I said, hang on, Julie, just hang on, mate. I recognise the number. I asked the phone, and he said that he was the same fellow that was organising the event. He said, I've rung 40 people. No one's answered their phone. Do you want to come to the event? And I went, well, there was truth.
Yeah.
And I went, yes, bloody oath, fuck yeah. I was on, mate.
Yeah.
When I hung up, the first thing that came into my head is, this is resistance bait. How can I get out of this? How can I fucking get out of this? I've wanted that answer, yes, but then the resistance comes. And whenever there's stuff that comes up, but when vulnerability comes up, especially because the ice bath wasn't worrying me, but there was something, because I didn't know what it was. I knew there was an ice bath, but I knew there was breathing, and I hadn't done any of that kind of meditation. I was doing little bits, but I wasn't really engaged in it, you know what I mean? So, as I said, it was kind of like a bit of bullshit. I just thought, and it's uncomfortable. So all this stuff started to come up. The resistance, how can I get out of this? So the first thing I did is I ring my brother from the business partner. And I said to Paul, hey, this is what's happened. I've got to go on Wednesday. It's only 2 days away. What do you reckon? He said, go. He said, go, mate. And I went, fuck.
It's not
Hang up. I don't need this, mate. I want an excuse so I can say to them I can't come.
Yeah.
Isn't that unreal how it works, the juxtaposition, mate?
It's funny because it's an event you wanted to go to and you love a challenge. We can see that you love a challenge, and the idea of going was the challenge. But then it's maybe what we see is woo-woo, and it's the breathing and the meditation and these other things are building that resistance, and whatever the feeling is inside of you is making you flick that switch of like, do I really want to be there?
And I knew there's potential, there's going to be a vulnerable thing here, you know? And so I then spoke to Julie and said, Julie, can I go? And she said, of course you can go. And so I went, can't get out of this. So here we are. Monday night, I've decided I'm going. Wake up in the morning, quite nervous and starting to organise jobs, make sure everything was right, which was pretty easy, but I made it hard, of course. Anything that came up, the resistance. And I see it when we run events here. At the last minute, you'll get a phone call, I'm sick. Well, I've seen it all. I've heard it all. Viewers, I have heard everything. Dog ate my homework, mate. Know all about this. Hey? All that stuff. And so, and I remember on the Wednesday, I went to the gym, and we met at the gym, and we were going all together, and there was anxiety coming up there. There was nerves and all that kind of stuff. And I remember saying to Anthony, one of the instructors, as I walked in to have a nervous piss, that kind of thing, sweaty ass.
Arms, I think they say, mate.
No, sweaty ass, sweaty palms, all that stuff. Yeah. People know about that, mate, when they get anxious. It's all happening. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. So, and he said, something's going to happen, Mark. He looked at me. He said, I know, Ant, that's just making me nervous. I know something's going to happen, and I don't like that uncontrolled feeling. I don't know. Got to be controlled. And so we drove down the Ocean Road, and then, the first morning we get up and we're laying in this big hall, and there's 65 other men and women, and we lay down, and I thought, fuck this. I've really not laid down beside anyone other than my wife, you know what I mean? It's kind of like blokes, and you hear them breathe beside you. I just started to feel the rhythm fully in and let go. Deeply in and let go. And it was interesting, Stretch, what happened there, mate, because all of a sudden there was this feeling I hadn't experienced before. This emotion was coming up. Very interesting. It's like I can feel it right now, and I remember, that uncomfortable feeling. I grew up in the outer suburbs of Melbourne, mate. Played a place called Montmorency, played football for the local footy club, cricket, basketball, and there's a view on masculinity on how you show up. Mm. The only time you put your arm around your mate is singing the club song, mate, or if he kicks a goal. The rest, you don't go near that shit. You don't, you never tell your mates you love them, or, show some emotion or any of that kind of stuff, because it's like you're a weak bastard. What are you doing? So I'm just holding that feeling now so people can feel this. Now, when I was 18, I was playing, it was in 1984, a while ago, and Collingwood Footy Club. I was in the under-19s. They got me a job. The Talent Scout got me a job as a plumber. I was like Rialto, mate. I remember that first day, 18 years old, walking to a building site. Now, mate, the sky was full of cranes in the 80s. The BLF was running riot. The Bills Labour Federation with Norm Gallagher was huge. And so I walk into this lunchroom and there's 80 other plumbers and I'm 18. And the older fellas came up and said, watch yourself, Pluie, you're going to be initiated or get initiated. And it was appalling. And, it's jailable stuff what they were doing to apprentices then. Yeah. Predominantly male, like at that point. There wasn't many female apprentices at that point. And so I said, well, you're not fucking doing it to me. There's no way, no, and there's just stoicism, fuck that. So through my life, even though I said earlier, my old man was so beautiful, like, Marty, at 90 now, he would put his arm around me, and outside, that's what I've done, mate. You can put your arm around me in the house, but don't let any mates see you cuddling me, mate. No, there's no way, no. It's like fucking weakness, mate. And so here I am over the time. I've built this, because I've been in construction, it's like I've had this concrete wall around me with all this steel fucking wire, 20 bars of Rio. No one's coming in. That's it. So I've got this. So it's lucky I could drive down the fucking Great Ocean Road. I've got this big bloody concrete wall around me. So here I am laying on the floor, letting go on the breathing, mate. Yes. And the emotions starting. See, I've dealt with all my emotions in life the way every other man does. What do, mate?
You bury them.
Yeah, they dig a hole, a 3-metre hole deep. You get a filing cabinet.
Yeah.
Yeah. You open the bottom door. You put all your stuff in that cabinet. You shut the key. You fuck the key off, and you bury it full of concrete. That's how you deal with stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the best way. Move on. Well, I tell you what. After half an hour or 15 minutes, it started to pull right through me. And I let go. Something said, "Let go, mate." Pull it in and let it go. And the emotion, it was deep stuff. Stretch. Well, there was judgment, all this and judgment on all this stuff, and what had gone in our life and my life, and all those deep fucking things I've been holding on to, and I kind of just let go. And I remember after that first session, because I wasn't quiet with tears, but I was to hear it.
Yeah,
horrible, mate.
Yeah.
And I remember, and I was probably one of the elders there, and there were AFL footballs and RL players there, so and these were fucking men, predominantly men at this retreat, and the thing was, shame came over me after this first session. After the first session, it was like, shame. What have I done, mate? And as we stopped, we got up because then we're going to have breakfast, and I could see all these people come around me. I could see these legs, they all came around, fucking hug me, mate. Fuck, that was powerful. Stretch. That was fucking like, it's like, it's okay, mate, but it was fucking beautiful. Fuck. That's 2016.
What were you feeling then? Like,
But
obviously the emotions and everything had come up in that first session, and you're feeling shame. But then when those blokes got around you, or those people on the retreat, can you remember what was going through your mind?
I was like, it's okay, mate. Fuck tough. I fucking loved you. Even this is the first morning. And we said something deeply. It was okay. For these people, there's no shame. And I'd grown up, I've got friends 30 years that I wouldn't have this conversation with. This was deep stuff, mate. And it was okay for you to be yourself. It was okay. You accepted without the bullshit. And it was life changing. And it changed my life.
Yeah.
It was life changing. You speak about legend Aaron Griffith, and also Taffy. I call him Taffy, the Welshman. Guy Lawrence. That's where I met those people. And this bond grew deep and strength, because when you your true self, when you can be your true self with people, that's when the true connection happens.
Yeah.
It's not that false shit, mate. It goes fucking deep and it cuts in. And so for the next 5 days, I was wailing away there, mate. I cleared a lot of shit, mate.
Yeah.
Seriously, a lot of stuff. Deep stuff. And in the end it was like, clue us away at the back there. That's fine. But what it does, it's interesting, because then it provided a way for others.
Yeah.
There's a time when we've got to fucking step up. Because when we do this, there's someone really struggling that can give them a path.
Yeah.
It's providing a path, mate, for them to come through. You know what I mean? And so that's what was happening. and the conversations we had, and like it was, that's the first retreat I've ever been to, mate. You know, like.
Was that the first time in your life where you think you just had that ability to let go and maybe express those emotions, or even to cry, mate, or even to let out, those feelings? Before that, had you just buried it? Had you just thrown it in that cabinet and just buried it?
Yes.
And you talk about your dad being someone in the house who was, someone you can trust and talk to when he felt open. But did you feel that you could express those emotions even in your own home?
Yeah, I could, but it would be, you kind of like, there's this kind of societal thing where you don't, you kind of, you still kind of don't. Yeah, it's a different programming, mate.
Yeah.
That you have, because and you think, oh, that can't be right at home. It's without what it, because it's like standing in that fucking, in that river or in that stream, mate.
Yeah.
And you got the flood, and you got that, you've got this flow. Do you stand up in that flow, mate? Or do you just go with the others and be bend like the fucking reed, and bend and go with the flow, So, yeah, I said my old man was great, but as I said,
I think it's just passed down from generation. Like, I think about my old man too. Like, I reflect on it now, being older and thinking about all the responsibility that he had and all the things that he took on, and I realise more now, like everything that he did do for the family. But there's a big part of that where I feel like we didn't connect. And I feel that he had the same with his father. He didn't connect. And there's times now where, I can hug Dad now and he will hug me back. But maybe as a kid that didn't happen. But if I go to hug some of his brothers, they're very standoffish because of that generation and what they were taught and what's sort of been passed down. And there's still guys, in their 20s now or, in their midlife now that don't have that strong connection or don't have that ability to open up and talk about their emotions. And that's the society pressure, and it's the way we should be. We've got to be masculine. We've got to be tough. We've got to put on this front. And it can be hard to overcome. But it sounds like, for you going to that Wim Hof event, that was the trip that opened something, the flood doors.
I think coming back to masculinity and being a peace warrior, that's true masculinity. The fucking love openly, the love wholeheartedly. That's fucking strength. That's fucking strength. And you own it. And it's not as though, we're not saying that at every, you're in business or so it doesn't mean you say, oh, I can't handle this, I'm going to start crying. That's why I'm not talking about that. We're talking about there are times where we have to be fucking stoic. Yeah. And there are times where we've got to stand our ground. Yeah. But there are times when we've fucking got to love too, mate. And even in that, and I used to say on the building side, it's, you've got to fix that, mate. I'm not just going to say, I love you, but I'm not going to just take that. You're still going to stand your ground.
Yes.
And it's about getting the job done. You know what I mean? So this is what's really important, is that we're not talking, okay, there's a woo-woo or that stuff. We're saying the fucking warrior shows all his sides, mate. And the peaceful warrior, the true Mac, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
So show the courage to tell your mates you fucking love them, because they need it, mate. Yeah. We all need it. This is what's important. And so here I am, midway through the retreat. I'm sitting with Geordie, lady of both of ours, good mate of ours. I sit with Geordie, and I said, Geordie, and how's this? I had this epiphany at 51. And the only excitement I used to get, and I look back on, is when I used to run these marathon events or kayak, or run through the banner, with the footy club, kick a goal, all that kind of stuff. Here I'm at 51. I see this vision. I said to Geordie, I know what I'm going to do, mate. I'm going to open a retreat space in nature and let people be themselves. I got so excited. Hair standing up the back of my neck. There's tears streaming down my face. This is what I'm doing, mate. At 51. So we're on a journey. And it can happen but when life's ready, you're ready. And I thought, well, fuck, I'm feeling this. I get so excited. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing, People can be themselves. There's no judgment. Just come here. And I didn't know where it was going to be, by the way. When I say here, it's like, it's Elevated Springs.
Yeah.
But at that point, I didn't know where it was. I just knew I had to do this. And so after those 5 days, it ripped right through me. And I remember coming home, and I'm sitting at the kitchen table. My 2 daughters, Mahalia and Lauren, come in. What's happened to Dad? I'm sitting there, eyes, water streaming down my face. And it looked like the anyone in Melbourne, that, in St Kilda Road, there's an art gallery there with water streaming down the window.
Walls there.
Yeah. And that's what it was, like a hairy, one of those, mate. What's happened to Dad? And then Julie, my wife, rings up Paul, my business partner, my brother, and said, something's happened to Mark. Something's happened. And he said, he'll be okay. I've been to these things. He'll be okay in a couple of weeks. I'm right now, mate. Hey? 2016?
Yeah.
2024, mate. I'm fucking right now, mate. 8 years later. And then after all that cleared, I then said to Julie, we've got to find something, mate. This is what I saw. I saw it and it was clear. She went, oh, really? We're comfortable on a 300 square metre postage stamp. It's probably lucky I wasn't there during COVID, because when the gyms were closed, mate.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, this is, so we're in Melbourne. I said, I see this. We're going to have to do it. I feel like we need to do this. I said, really? I said, yeah. She said, where? I said, I don't know. Let's just see what happens. Something changed, but because there was fear around selling the property. We tried a few times.
Yeah.
Always a fear. You sell it, can you get back in? Or I always say they put pressure on us. Buy a house somewhere else first, so you got a backstop. Mate, you burn the fucking boats, mate. That's what you do. You can't go back, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah? And I said to Julie, and because the fear had gone, let's just give it a crack. We had to sell it to move.
Yeah.
And so we sold the property, and we still hadn't, well, actually, we'd sold the property, still hadn't found where we were going. We just sold it, thought okay, that's step one. And then we moved out, we were renting around the corner. So I pulled the rug out of Julie's.
Under her feet.
Yeah, I pulled the rug out under her feet. And then just as the settlement period was coming, so a lot of shit's happening. Blokes are different, obviously. I decided we're going, mate. You know what I mean? And men will say, there's no tie there, And then as the settlement period was coming to an end, all of a sudden, this property came up. And we came and looked at it. Julie told her dad about it. And the first thing he said to Julie, with country Victoria, or country, bushfires. So I've pulled the rug out from under Julie's feet. Taking the house that we've lived at, Julie and I built together. Our beautiful daughters grown up there. We had all these memories of them growing up, all these kids in the house, all this beautiful time. And I've pulled the rug out, and then I found something where her father had said, bushfires, mate, bushfires. And so there was a fear. So anyway, we had a look at this property. She hated it at the start. It's a bit too masculine. And it was in, November. Good year, November. It was November 2017. We did our first men's retreat. I did that with Geordie K. Johnson.
Yeah.
And it was a great year because Tigers won the grand final. Mate, after 30 years in the abyss.
Yeah.
And this property came up, and it was interesting how like these little conversations. And for years, I'd never been, because I was asleep. I'm going to say asleep, not conscious. Something woke up in me in 2016, but I started to look at, I've met that person. That's why I've got to meet this person. And this connection, when you're not conscious and you're just on this hamster wheel of life, of just wanting, and not actually really, because the success for me is how you feel. Happy, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And it goes up and down. And when you're on purpose, it still doesn't mean it's hard times. We're not talking about hard times. But, it was interesting. And so, this conversation I had with Mahalia's, my daughter, my youngest daughter, Jules, his partner, great young fella. He actually said to me, because he's from around here, he doesn't come from farming background, but he said, you'll probably buy some land up here. It'll be a farming family that's going to sell some land to you. You won't go see an agent, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it happened. We found this. Julie hated it. And because I had my building company, and it was just new, the lawyer told me that don't put anything under your name, put under Julie's name. So Julie had to sign the papers. And where we in Ballarat, we signed the paper. She's got to sign the papers to the property. And I could have strangled the lawyer because he said to me, I can see that Dean's not real keen about this property. I'm not going to submit it until you tell me. I said, you're fucking joking.
Yeah.
But that was a great call on his behalf. You'd never think a lawyer would do that, mate. Eh? No. And so I remember driving home. We're still living in Melbourne from Ballarat. By chance, our lawyer was in Ballarat, you know. And as we're driving home, Julie pulled up, full on the brake, and she fucking yelled at, hated me for this. Why did you made me do this? I said, Julie, we had a chat. I said, okay, I'll give you an hour clause. If it doesn't work in a year or so, we'll just pull the pin. We'll sell. I just said, let's just take the opportunity because I could see it. We had to take this opportunity. I could see it. I saw everything.
Yeah.
I saw people here. I saw all that kind of stuff. Stretch, you know? And I couldn't ignore it. Just couldn't ignore it. And so then, once we had sold the place and we were renting, for 2 years I'd come up here, and I'd come up, and I'd sit and look at areas. Julie couldn't, I'd come back to Julie and say, let's do this, and we'll do that. Made her really anxious. Remember, she still got that push for all that kind of stuff, you know? And she said, I can't talk about it, mate. We can't talk about it. And then it came to the point where the lease in Melbourne, we decided we'll move up here, and we were living out of town. And life was great, mate. It was in that flow. So we had the shed built, and I was building away, and that's, it was great. I'd come here, and in the morning, I'd go to the front gate, open the front gate, and I had this excitement. At 51, have this excitement when you're doing something like this, with the hair stand up at the back of your neck, tears in your eyes, and I knew I was in the right spot. At 51, and there'd be tears, there'd be hair stand up the back of my neck, and it was like, I might say, it's all right, I'm here. How is this, mate?
Yeah. It's incredible, mate.
And so I kept butting in here, but I feel so like it was, so fucking powerful, and I left my building company, my brother, just walked out. There was no selling my part. It was just, I need to go.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm going to linger around, fuck this, burn the boats. Yeah, because if you have 1 foot in and 1 foot out, doesn't work, mate. You got to fucking go.
Yeah.
And so life was great. We were working here. I was working here. Then I'd go and I'd travel with Wim Hof around Australia, when he'd come back, and then also running events around Australia. I did one up with you in Queensland at that time.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, bang. Bloody COVID. Who would have thought, mate?
Before we step into that, Mark, I just want to rewind a little bit, because at the start when we started talking about your plumbing career, the house in Melbourne, the family, all this sort of stuff, that you feeling like something was missing. And it's like, we measure success, or a lot of us measure success on finances and money and owning a property and all these things. But deep down, you know that something's missing. And now you've walked away from that, you've burnt the boats, and this emotion has come up in you, but you've just got this passion for life now. And I can see it in the energy. And we know how excited you get when we talk about all this sort of stuff. And what does success mean to you, man?
Connection. What success means to me now is to be connected with people. It's not about that's the whole thing. It's not about chasing those things, because then all of a sudden we want the next thing and the next thing. No, it's about the connection, Stretch, and having these great conversations and fucking crying and having those emotional connections with people. I fucking love it, mate. I'm not saying I want to always, not every conversation's like, but do you know what I mean? It's when you have those ones, because there are people that you really connect with, and it's like you see them, they'll come here or even, and I love, in the street having a chat with people. We've all had it when we've been speaking to someone that we connect.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, I'll share this little thing here. I remember when I was an apprentice. And you have someone that was really a real good mentor, like I'd be with, and I would say, fuck. But you would never say to him, oh, fuck, I love you, mate, for what you're teaching me. There's no way known I'd fucking say it. I'd say it now, though.
Yeah.
Thank you, mate. But all that kind of, that societal pressure on all that bullshit, we're not feeling enough, mate. Let's fucking feel it.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing with, good mate of mine, Trev, always says, feel it to heal it. Yes. Because what we're doing, we're not feeling it to heal it. We're putting it in the filing cabinet.
Yeah.
And we're putting it 3 meters down.
Yeah.
With concrete over the top, mate.
Suppressing it.
Yeah, suppressing it, mate. Because we're concerned about, it's interesting, we spend all this time on what people perceive of us or what they think of us, when those people are thinking the same thing. They're not actually thinking about us.
Right.
They're thinking the same thing, Stretcher.
I'd like to dive in a little bit now. I think, we've sort of set this up quite well to talk about a little bit the events that you run. And, you talked about going to Wim Hof, and you talked about the anxiety, the trying to get out of the fear. And I'm sure that a lot of the people that come to your events are feeling the same way.
Yes.
And I want to hear about, talk us through what goes on in that event, and how do you think people transform from walking that door on that day to at the end? What have you seen?
Different people, mate. Because I could see at the start, always say we're safe. The first thing, we're safe. I'm talking to, we're talking 20-odd farmers, mate. Like, we've had farmers coming through. You're safe. That's the most important. And then I can see, and it's not the ice bath, mate. That's a thing. That's a tool, yeah?
Yeah.
And yes, it might be, especially in winter time, they're thinking it's going to be difficult, but it's an underlying thing that I felt, that I know what they're feeling now that I felt. It's the unknown, mate. It's this, right, and it's fucking confronting. But you see people they come in carrying stuff, because we're slowing stuff down here, mate. They walk in, cars are out there. If we can, we are, hopefully we say, we have a lot of fathers coming, obviously, that if they need to, during the sessions, keep your phone in the keep your phone in the tent, whatever, like, and if you need to use it, fine. But a lot of them enjoy quite having it turned off.
Yeah. It's creating space.
It's creating space, and it's slowing. Let's slow the fuck down. Good food, good conversation. I love, mate. And even if it's a day, we're talking from 9 till 3. We do the weekend events, Friday afternoon till Sunday afternoon. But we're talking, say, a Sunday from 9 till 3. We have people walk in that don't know each other. We have 20 individuals, 10 individuals. We walk out with one fucking breath and one fucking heart. And they're all chatting like their mates.
Yep.
And that was the thing that I experienced when in 2016 I spent 5 days, but it was it's this bond now we've got, because you go through something together and you can share it, and it builds community. And so that's why, and so without pushing it too hard, I want people to feel this thing, because this is fucking true. This is fucking wealth, mate. This is wealth, Stretch.
Yeah.
That's wealth, feeling that, because it might feel that you can't understand, can't grasp it, but because you feel it here.
I think you said it before, like, we're numb to our emotions, but also we're suppressing so much. And we're also so worried about the external and what people think of us. But on the opposite side of that, the same people are thinking exactly the same thing. And we don't get those communication channels open. We don't get that connection open. And everything's just superficial. And when do we dig deeper? And it's crazy to think that something like breathwork and the ice bath can bring together people and just let them drop. You talked about the concrete wall before, but it's dropping those boundaries.
But what it is, and it's so stretched, the ice bath and the breathing's like a fucking jackhammer. But it's all those other little conversations that everyone's in the same boat when they can't. You know what I mean? Like, and the great thing is, it doesn't matter what you do in business. We're all the same, mate. We walk in, we do that stuff. Because the ice bath, as I said, is a tool. You know, that's not the only thing. But it does. It lets that stuff go because it gets to the soul. But there's deep connection. The breathing is the part where they really that breaks them. But that's where it breaks down, because that's this session. It moves stuff. That's what moves stuff.
Yeah.
That's where that's powerful, you know?
Yeah. It's funny though, because the ice bath is probably what brings people. And I think it brought you to Wim Hof. It's like...
all the other stuff.
The physical challenge.
Yes.
People come thinking, okay, I can conquer this. I can conquer the ice bath. I can conquer the physical challenge. And then maybe not be prepared for
the other bit,
the other part, and even not expecting the other part. Like you had a sensation or a feeling that something was going to happen to Wim Hof event, but you probably weren't expecting the result that came out of that.
Right.
You talked about how they connected their one heart, their one breath. What do you see during that, let's say it's a one-day event, or even if it's like the weekend that you do, like how do you see that group transforming over that?
Well, it's interesting. So we had a father-son camp, they were two farmers, and this is the weekend event, and we were sitting in the teepee area, and we're talking about our intention, that introduce who you are, your intention. And it was really interesting because it was father's turn. The young fella, the son really wanted to be, he was right into this, you know. And the father was like, probably my age, probably a bit older. It was probably in mid-60s. I don't know why I'm here. I know all this stuff. And he wasn't being, he's just saying, speak the truth, but that's what's about. And that, I don't know why I'm here. He's dragged me here. He's bought me a ticket, which is great. And you should have seen the change. We just saw it happen. And we're not here to tell people what to do. We're not here to give advice, because there's always someone telling you what to do. If you want advice, we're happy to share, but it's more about listening. And it's really powerful for someone to say something that might have been holding and people listen. And that the change for him was unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
That was so powerful, mate. So, you know.
How does that make you feel when you see the work that you're doing and the impact that potentially it's having on someone like that? What goes for you?
Mate, there's life. Well, it's wealth, mate.
Yeah.
And it's like all that stuff, all that grinding away, building this thing and, you know, going through those things to get to this point and, you know, and have it, you know, a space where people can feel that they can let go like that.
Yeah. It's beautiful, mate.
Yeah, it's so.
Men in particular, you know, we've talked about this. We're very bad at getting those emotions out, talking about all this sort of stuff. What advice can you give now with the journey that you've been on, the experiences you've had, what you're doing right now? Like guys who are feeling like maybe you were feeling when you were working the plumbing job, knowing that something's not right, but not being able to express that, not being able to figure out what that is. What sort of advice can you give them?
Seek, I suppose, go on the journey. If there's something that, a good question, because you know, I see for a bloke, you're concerned about being vulnerable, like, you know, with a mate, or even just think you're going to get judged, you know. I suppose you just got to step in there, because it's courage, you know, and to just kind of have a chat to a mate, say, look, and start. I think it's starting that stretch, you know, and just saying, look, mate, you know, because you never know, mate. Do you?
It's a huge thing, man. We look at men's health, we look at men's mental health, we look at the challenges we're going through, we look at suicide rates, we look at all these things, and it's probably because we can't open up and we can't talk. And we do find it hard to break that barrier, even with our closest mates, even the bad or family members. It can be so tough because of society's pressures. It's awesome that you've found a path, for yourself, but also that you're teaching other men this path of helping them sort of heal, I suppose, or helping them get in touch with those emotions. And I think that curiosity is there, but I also love the way you say courage, because what is courage? What is bravery? We build this brick wall, we build this fortress around us, we think we're tough, we think we're masculine, but the reality is the opposite.
You're scared little boys, so, and it's not being derogatory saying that.
No.
But it's just a society, it's a way we're portrayed, mate. Like we've got to be we've got to be, we've got to family, we've got to protect the family, we've got to be the breadwinners, all this kind of stuff, and I think we're losing being a child, mate. Got to have fun.
Yeah.
You got to fucking love fiercely, mate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's
so tricky because we just feel the pressure, isn't it? We talked about it earlier off air, the responsibility that you feel. Like you're building this place, there's a lot of jobs to be done. You want to train, you've got to spend time with your family. There's all these pressures that are constantly pushing at us. And that's where we can sort of really wound up in chasing all these things. But at the end of the day, what matters most? What are we coming home to? Right? Where is the heart? What makes us happy? What is success? What is that? You were talking about ticking boxes when you were doing your job, but what are the boxes now? The connection coming from the heart, being able to speak your truth. Like these are such powerful things that you've talked about, Mark, and I love it.
I feel like I've just thought about something there, which we're coming home, mate. We're fucking coming home. Yes?
Yes.
That's what we need to do. We're coming home. And that's the thing. Go for it.
I love Mark. It's a powerful message and it's a powerful story. You talk about vision, and you said that you had the vision of this place. What's the vision going forward?
It changes, mate. Sometimes I feel like the farming, but the greatest thing that you love or what you want to do is the thing that'll challenge you the most. That's what I've learned.
I think it's because we care about it. You're passionate about it, mate. We can see it. And you don't want to fail because you've come this far and you've come with the support of Julie, support of your mates, the support of these people around you, and you don't want to fail because it's been a dream and you put your heart and soul into it. So, and I can see that. We can see that.
And the thing, I suppose, it's interesting, all the people that I met from 2016 have all been fucking behind me, mate. I've had that support. There's no one to the old ones that they look at me like it's in the building. Why the fuck are you doing that? Because there's heaps of judgment. Yeah, old like my age, judging anyone that's doing because they feel tested here. Like when we had this uncomfortable stuff from someone, it's usually the mirroring us. Shit, that is, mate. They're my puppy.
Yeah,
my puppy, Quincy.
Yeah,
I'm doing something. He's mirroring me my stuff. He's fucking all over the place. Wow.
Yeah.
But I just want to just keep sharing this place. I thought, and with COVID, that you couldn't do anything. I invested all that money, and there was a shame there. Should have known at 50. Like I said, you at 51.
Yeah.
Why didn't you? I felt so passionate. At 51, I ever had this feeling. I went fucking hell on. And then when COVID fucking hit, you talk about who's your hero. Mine's my wife, Julie.
Yeah.
Because how's this? Here we are. COVID's hit. I'm sitting. Well, COVID hits first. That's a bit later. COVID hits. Our rents come up to renewal. The lease, and Julie said, "How's this after all that fear? The shed was in a shell. Dad might be moved from Dad. As long as no one from the Hepburn Castle hears this. For fuck's sake. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's move into the shed.
Yeah.
From the fear, she says this, mate. It's not even her story, mate.
Yeah.
So we can save money. Because I wasn't going back to work, because at that point, if I went back in plumbing, my greatest fear was being 80 years old and not following this vision that I saw.
Yeah.
Right? And so I wasn't going to do any plumbing or building for anyone other than build this facility. And so, and so I had no work up there. Couldn't do any breath sessions. So how's that, mate? Let's move in here. So we moved in here, and I remember, we thought I'd only be a few. We had no toilet, no any of that kind of stuff. And I remember, it gets to August, we're still closed. And looking down the valley, it's pissing rain, dark, it's winter, and there's no one coming, kangaroos and critters. That's it, mate. And I had this fucking guilt. What have I done? Let this beautiful woman down that stood beside me, that if I go to war, she would be, like I said earlier, she'd be standing there throwing rocks, mate. That's it. And this mother, this thing that women have, it's this selflessness, the care for others, mate. Fuck, she's there, mate.
Yeah.
And here I am, I've failed, mate. And all of a sudden, something came over. Hang on, Mark. What about all the people? This is what happened. What about all the people in your life that you've met so far since 2016? And I started to think about that, and it actually then changed. And I realised that I stepped into the river, and it was the river. I know you're a country fella, but the Yarra River, the stinking Yarra River in Melbourne in a storm, when there's mattresses floating down the river, there's car bodies, there's a body in there, with all the shit coming down from the blood septic tanks up in Warrandyte. I'm in this river and it's mess, mate.
Yeah.
It's mess. But I knew I'd stepped into the river. It's in flow. I just got to trust. And it's about trusting, coming back to that.
Yeah.
Because we're not in here enough. We need to have coins between here and here. But this is the thing we're not taught about.
No.
In business, you need to have this gut, feel the gut before you sign a contract. Don't just go on it because you want the shiny fucking thing, like an emu, right? What you want to do is to feel right out. Got to feel right, mate. You become your intuition. And I started to focus, as I said, on that connection, all those people that I've met since then.
Yeah.
And it keeps happening.
Yeah.
But there's always doubt comes in, even now. There's doubt. There's judgment.
I think it's always the way, mate. I don't think we ever get rid of that. We don't get rid of those thoughts, and they're always going to be there. But I think how we deal with it, and it sounds like, you've got such a great community of people around you, supporting you, backing you. And I think the reason why is just because they see how happy this makes you, and they see your vision, and they see the work that you've put in to get to where you are right now. And it's incredible, mate. And I wish you all the best for this. And I can't wait to come here and do a retreat and be a part of it. Mark, I really appreciate your time, and I appreciate you having me and inviting me here. It's been fantastic. If people want to find out more about you, more about what you do, where can they go?
Well, my Instagram's mark.tiger.clue, and I was given that name Tiger. Is an interesting little story. 2016, first ice bath, Tiger Man. So I start singing the theme song. Now, 2016, we were a fucking basket case. How was that? How would I have thought that in 2017 we're in the premiership? Anyway, I started singing the Richmond theme song, and it ends up, yellow and black, Tigerland.
Yeah.
And Wim loved it, and he started calling me Tiger, and everyone there started calling me Tiger.
Yeah.
So that's where the Tiger comes from.
Stuck, mate.
Yeah, it's stuck, mate. So my Instagram, my webpage, markkluwer.com. So they can either just direct message me on Instagram, or as I said, come and have a look at our page. It's obviously always been updated and stuff's happening. And we've got these great retreats. We do the 1-day retreats, also do breath and breakthrough I've teamed up with Trevor Hendy. He's a fucking powerful man, mate. Yeah. Trevor Hendy, and former world Ironman champion, surf Ironman champion, and Kane Johnson, my other brother. We're just fucking tight, mate. Yeah. And Kane, at 18, played in 2 premierships under Malcolm Blight at Adelaide Crows, and then went on to captain Richmond Woody Club.
Yeah.
And how things change, like all that, what we're doing, and they're powerful, the breath and breakthrough events, Yeah. We're travelling around Australia at the moment. Well, we are about to.
Yeah.
Got a session up in Byron Bay, and then we've got one that's sold out, and we've got one in Kakadu, mate, which is a men's and women's event. So there's spots still available in August.
Yeah.
People are keen. I don't know when this goes on, get this put up there, mate, but just...
Yeah, awesome. And when do you plan to be doing it again here, mate?
November.
November.
We've got an event here in November. Second weekend of November, we've got a men's retreat happening. Yeah. It'll go up soon.
Beautiful.
On our social media.
Yeah.
And then we're going to do a father-son retreat. We're just working out the date now for that.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
that'll be... Yeah. Thanks, mate. I really appreciate your time, Mark. Thanks for that. And like Mark says, if you want to jump on and find out more about him, check out his details there. And he's not only got events here, but he's also got events that he does around Australia. So get on board.
Win!
Thanks for tuning in to the Midlife Mavericks podcast. Remember, your journey to optimal health and vitality doesn't end here. You're just getting started. Keep embracing the mindset of a maverick. Stay committed to your visions, values, and goals. Continue taking meaningful steps towards a life filled with energy, purpose, and fulfillment. Until next time, keep thriving and living life on your own terms.